Consolidation Lecture 2 is being recorded at 2x speed. Please follow the lecture.
We were discussing the concept of control in consolidation. Basically, the theory question which can be expected. Based on that, let's take some problems. So come to this problem. Problems on consolidation, application of control. Come to this problem. AB Limited, which is a scientific research organization, is going to appoint the chief research officer. The key determinant will be who is authorized to appoint the chief research officer. Assuming that it is the management committee. The one should look who controls the management committee. AB Limited has two shareholders. A Limited, who holds 60% and controls the board of directors, and B Limited, who holds 40% through a shareholder agreement, controls the management committee. So, who controls the entity AB Limited? Please read the problem once more. So, you are having AB Limited. AB Limited is a scientific research organization. So, what they do is scientific research organization. AB Limited. Which is scientific organization is going to appoint the chief research officer. This AB Limited will appoint the chief research officer. The key determinant will be who is authorized to appoint the chief research officer. Potential will tell you because relevant activities. This company is not any other business organization. This company is into scientific research, and chief research officer is the person who controls the entire relevant activities. Chief research officer is responsible for relevant activities. So he's the controller. But does he own any shares in the company? If the company makes more profit or less profit, does he get any share? He's not a shareholder. So chief research officer is more like an agent. He's not a principal himself. He controls the organization into activities, but he's not having the variable returns. He's not the owner of it. So he's in the sense of an agent. He's not a principal. Assuming that it is management committee. So who appoints the chief research officer? Is a management committee. Appoints the chief research officer. So if chief research officer is a person to be appointed, the person to appoint the control, that control is with the management committee. AB Limited has two shareholders. Okay, the shareholders of AB Limited are two owners. One is A Limited and other is B Limited. A Limited holds 60% and B Limited holds 40%. And A Limited controls board of directors. A Limited controls board of directors of AB Limited. But B Limited controls the through a shareholder agreement controls the management committee. So B Limited controls the management committee. So ultimate person who is responsible for operation is chief research officer, who is appointed by management committee, and the management committee is appointed by B Limited, controlled by B Limited through a shareholder agreement. Now in this case, between board of directors and management committee, who is more powerful? I know A Limited controls 60% of board of directors, but in this case, more than board of directors, the chief research officer is the person responsible for relevant activities. So therefore, here we say B Limited controls AB Limited. And as I told you, it's very easy to say on paper. Theoretically, practically, it is thousand stuff because principle. So much subjectiveness is involved. So much difference of opinions will be there. But for example purpose, we can say this. B Limited controls AB Limited because the relevant activities which are headed by chief research officer is ultimately under the control of B Limited, who controls management committee, which controls thereby chief research officer. You can write on this graph. If you have any question, you can ask. Okay, what is done? How to write the conclusion for this? You should write the same three definitions, 3 points I told you. It is there in the material. The power over investing, right to have variable returns, and ability to use the power. Those sentences are there. Write it, and then say in the given case, the relevant activities are ultimately controlled by B Limited through management committee. Hence, B Limited controls. So you don't have to explain too much. Like the way I explained you for your understanding, you don't have to write too much. What you should write in exam, even for law answers, accounting style answers, very very simple. Tell what is the content. In the given case, conclusion, simple 3 paragraph. So what do you mean by the control? In the given case, relevant activities are controlled by management committee, which are in turn controlled by B Limited. Hence, the conclusion, B Limited controls AB Limited. So you don't have to write too many sentences, too many explanations. The validator knows the answer. You don't have to teach him. Your objective is, okay, I have to convince him that I also know the subject. The examination is all about convincing the validator that you also know the subject. It's not about making him understand. He knows it. He's not a student. But your writing should be such a way that it's like a simple in English, but it should be to the point. Okay. So I hope it is done. Let's go further. Okay, so come to this problem now. At the AGM of investee, the decision to direct relevant activities are made. The next shareholders meeting is scheduled in 8 months. However, the shareholder, read it carefully, AGM of investee, the decision to direct relevant activities are made. In exam, you get a sentence like this. Practically, you will never get this answer. How do you know what is practical, what is relevant activities? It's not so easy. That's a very controversial thing. What is relevant activity? So it depends on judgment. But in exam, they'll give you like this. Okay, so at AGM, relevant activities are decided, which means AGM is our primary focus as to who controls. In AGM, will control relevant activities, will control the company. The next shareholders meeting is scheduled in 8 months. So next decision is going to happen after 8 months. However, the shareholders individually or collectively holding 5% or more of the voting right can call special meeting to change the existing policies or relevant activities. Here they talk about EGM, extraordinary general meeting, where the same decision can be taken, but everybody cannot call for EGM. Only the shareholder who is having 5% or more can call for the meeting, and who call for the meeting cannot decide. Ultimately depends on whether the vote is in favor or the votes are against. Okay. However, the shareholders, but there is a requirement to give notice to other shareholder at least 30 days before meeting. Whenever they want, they cannot go and decide. At least 30 days before, you should share notice, tell them what is there so people can come prepared. The policies of relevant activities can be changed only at a special or scheduled shareholders meeting. Okay, so basically, without the meeting, relevant activities and decisions cannot be taken. Based on the above facts, answer the following, considering it in isolation. Under each situation, we have to discuss. Okay, let's discuss one by one. Three situations we have. Situation A. The investor holds majority of the voting rights in the investee. So that person, the investor, is having the majority. Does the investor have the current ability to direct the relevant activities given the fact that it takes 30 days to hold the meeting to take decisions regarding the relevant activities? So person is having already a 30% majority, not 30%, majority is having. Now the question is, sir, he has majority, no doubt, but without calling for the general meeting, he will not be able to make decision. He has to call for a meeting. It takes 30 days. 30 days it takes. Does he have the power? Just because it takes 30 days, it does not mean he does not have a power. Because once he calls for the meeting, in the meeting, who will decide? He only will decide. So just because a 30 days restriction is there, that is not a restriction on his power. That's a formality as a process. So everybody is informed. So majority shareholder, just because there is a 30-day meeting restriction, there is no restriction on his power. Because once the meeting is held, because meeting is required, without which the decision cannot be made about relevant activities. So decision is necessarily taken in the meeting. Just because 30 days is required, even if it is taken in AGM, that is also not required. So 30 days restriction is not a restriction on his powers. So you can just say that ultimately the 30-day restriction is not a restriction on power of investor. Ultimately, majority investor having majority will decide the outcome in the meeting. Will decide the outcome in meeting. Now, don't ask me that if he only decides, so why should he call for a meeting? What is the purpose? It's not about information. It's not about permission. It's about information. See, who you marry is under your control. At least inform your parents. So it's a matter of formality. It's a matter of other purposes, not about the word control. Just because you are control, you cannot do whatever you want. There are certain process. Just because there are certain process formalities does not mean you have the control. Okay, that's why we are telling about the word control. Does not mean absolute 100% control. It's about power to direct the relevant activities, which is what is done by this investor in this situation. Okay, it's fine. Let's go further. Situation B. An investor is a party to a forward contract to acquire the majority of the shares in the investee. He is not the majority shareholder now, but he is in a forward contract where he can become the majority shareholder when the contract is settled. The forward contract settlement is in 25 days. Is the investor's forward contract a substantive right even before settlement of the contract? If after settlement of the contract, he is the majority shareholder, he is the controller, no doubt about it. But now the forward contract is yet to be settled. That is, the investor is yet to become the majority shareholder, so it is potential share in nature. Now, can the potential share be considered for the purpose of assessment? You remember what we discussed? There are two types of rights, substantive rights and protective rights. Substantive rights can be considered. Protective rights will not be used because the intention is not to control. Now here, substantive rights. Substantive rights. In this case, is it there or protective rights? Now please look at the term. The forward contract is in 25 days. So after 25 days, the investor will become the majority holder, and other shareholders need to call for a meeting within 30 days. So the investor holding the forward contract can make the decision about how the meeting will go, because once the meeting is called, 30 days will take time. But by the day 30 days will happen, you would have already become the majority shareholder, the investor, and in the meeting you can easily call for it. Hence, the forward provides the substantive rights. You can write this sentence for your friends. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Yeah, please copy it. Whichever the solution not there, either I'll give you the hint, one or two sentences, or I'll give time to write. So write down, no issues. Let me know. Much is that? I have muted all. I don't think you can listen to any voice. Okay, I've done it once more. Hope it's fine now. Okay, let's go further. Second situation is that. Third situation. If in the illustration given, the investor's forward contract will be settled in 6 months instead of 25 days, would the existing shareholders have the current ability to direct the relevant activities? What do you think? In this case, where the time period is not 25 days, time period is 6 months, would still the investor have the control or other shareholders will have the control? It is the other shareholders. The other shareholders can call for a meeting within 30 days. Therefore, other shareholder still have the control. So, other shareholder can call for meeting within 30 days. Meeting in 30 days time, where the investor is yet to become majority shareholder. Hence, at this point, as on date, at this point, the right, the potential right, is not substantive. Once he will become, once the contract is settled, he will become the majority holder. Oh, after subsequently he will become the controller. But till that happens, the rights should not be considered because in 6 months, who controls different. Okay, hope it is done. Let's go further. Okay, so come to this problem. AB Limited owns 50% of the voting shares in XY Limited. The board of directors of XY Limited consists of 6 members. Okay, as and when let's say to summarize, AB Limited owns 50% of shares in XY Limited. There is one XY Limited. AB Limited has 50% voting rights, voting shares. The board of directors of XY Limited consists of 6 members. So XY Limited has board of directors. Of course, board of directors also control XY Limited, and board of directors there are 6 in numbers, of which 3 are nominated by AB Limited. So AB Limited nominates 3 board of directors, and 3 other investors are nominate 1 director each person to a shareholders agreement among them. So apart from AB Limited, there is other investors, investor 1, investor 2, investor 3, who are also owned that remaining 50%. Because AB Limited has 50%, remaining 3 investors also has 50%, and 1 director each. So remaining one person will nominate. Investor 1, investor 2, investor 3 will nominate. All decisions concerning the relevant activities of XY Limited are taken at board of meeting by simple majority. So board of directors meeting decides the relevant activities. Simple majority. As per the articles of association, one of the directors nominated by AB Limited chairs the board meeting. So one of the person nominated will become the chairman, because somebody should conduct the proceedings of the meeting, and has a casting vote in the event the directors cannot reach a majority decision. Casting vote means what? When there is a tie, somebody should come and break the tie. That is what is done by chairman. That vote is called as casting vote. So apart from his regular vote, he will have an extra vote only when there is a tie. So if 3% say yes, 3% say no, what will happen? This chairman will have an extra vote to break the tie. That is called as casting vote. Whether AB Limited has control over XY Limited. Now it seems it's a 50-50%, but because the chairman has the casting vote in case of a tie-up, we can say that AB Limited owns, or AB Limited owns, or AB Limited controls XY Limited. Now, they said simple majority. Practically what happens? They say regular activities are simple majority, but if you want to take a decision like a loan beyond certain limit, if you want to start a new product, or you want to start a new office, then a special resolution need to be passed. Then who will control? So we need to dig into more details in practical as to who controls. This information will not be sufficient. But for this problem, simple majority is sufficient. Therefore, the person with the casting vote will break the tie. AB Limited controls XY Limited. Okay, hope you taken down. Okay, let's go further. Come to this problem. A Limited has 48% of the voting rights of B Limited. Okay, so A Limited has 48% of the voting of B Limited. The remaining voting rights are held by thousands of shareholders. Remaining 52%, thousands of shareholders. None individually holding more than 1%. No one is more than 1%. So everybody is less than 1%. None of the shareholders has any arrangements to consult any of the others to make a collective decision. So they cannot influence. They don't know who are other shareholders. Typical case of a listed entity. One shareholder will not be knowing other shareholder at all. Does A Limited have sufficiently dominating voting interest to meet the power criterion? Yes. So it's a good terminology. Remember this. Sufficiently dominant voting interest. Now, on the face of it, 48% looks below majority. But looking into the facts of the case, others people are spread across many, and no way they can come to the contact of each other, so they cannot make a decision together. So, in substance, not in form, in substance, that's what I say. Sufficiently dominating voting power lies in A Limited. So, you can say A Limited controls B Limited. A Limited controls B Limited. Substance or form, very easy term, but impact is very high. So let's go further. Next. Investor A holds 40% of the voting rights of an investee. Investor A holds, investor A. So not A Limited, investor A. No, the person holds 40% voting rights of an investee. Holds 40% rights, shares in an investee, some company. And 6 other shareholders, each 10% voting rights. 6 other shareholders. Shareholder 1, shareholder 2, shareholder 3, shareholder 4, shareholder 5, shareholder 6. So investor A has 40%. Remaining shareholders have got 10% each and 6% to be specific. A shareholder agreement grants investor A the right to appoint and remove, then set the remuneration of management responsible for direct relevant activities. So investor A has a right to appoint, also disappoint, whatever set remuneration, remove the management. And who is doing the relevant activities? There is a management, it may be a person or it may be a group of people, but it is ultimately decided by investor because of a shareholder agreement. To change the agreement, if that agreement has to change, that means if you want to take out the power from A, a 2/3 majority vote of the shareholder is required. So if you want to take out this power, to remove this or to alter, 2/3 majority required. To change the agreement, 2/3 majority vote of the shareholder required. Is the absolute size of the investor holding and the relative size of the other shareholder alone is conclusive in determining whether the investor has the right sufficient to give it to power. Read the problem once more and look at the chart and see what you think. Okay. So it is not possible to alter by others alone. Correct. Because if you want to alter 2/3 majority means 66%, they are only 60%. And also answer to the question, is the absolute size of the investor holding and relative size of the other shareholding alone conclusive? Nothing is conclusive in IND AS. Everything is based on facts. So the investor's holding, is the absolute size of the investor holding and relative size of the other shareholders holding alone is conclusive? Definitely it's not conclusive. What you understand is English. It is English is absolute size of investor holding. So one person has got 40, other person has got 10 each. Oh, you have got 40, which is higher than others. Your absolute holding is higher than others' relative size of 1% 10, other person 10, other person 10. You are having 40. So can you say this is alone is sufficient? Definitely not. Therefore, the shareholding alone is not sufficient. You should also consider the other aspects like the right to appoint management who direct the relevant activities. So we say that shareholder percentage shareholding is alone not sufficient. Is alone not sufficient to determine power. Other aspects such as power to appoint also will have impact. So the both should be considered. So basically in this case we can say investor A only controls, but you can't just say one line, okay, investor A controls over. You have to give the correct justification. And always answer to the point. In this problem, don't tell investor A has 40%, others have 60%, investor A has the right to appoint, therefore investor A is the controller. Your answer is right. You will not get marks fully. Why? Because the question they're asking is the absolute size of the investor holding and the relative size of the other sufficient. Answer that. No, that is not sufficient. Other factors also to be considered. Like in the given case, power to appoint will have an impact. So those things you need to talk about it. Always answer to the point what is required in the problem. Okay, so it's fine. Let's go further. Entity P develops pharmaceutical products. It has acquired 47% of Entity S Limited. As and when we read, let's write down. Entity P Limited develops pharmaceutical products. Okay, so we have Entity P. It produces pharmaceutical products. It has acquired, Entity P has acquired 47% of S Limited. It has 47% of S Limited. It has 40%, 47%. And option to purchase remaining 53%. It also has option to purchase remaining 53%. Entity S is a specialist entity that develops latest technology and does research in pharmaceuticals. So S Limited basically also is into pharma. Entity P has acquired a stake in S Limited to complement its own technological research. So this will help its own entity. So what's the purpose of acquiring 47% in S Limited? So S Limited could help us. That was the intention. That's why they have got a stake. So Facebook has invested in Reliance. Why? Facebook can get some benefit in Reliance, and Reliance could get some benefit from Facebook. So one person gets the benefit of large database, other person gets the benefit of large network. So that's the connection. So Entity P is pharmaceutical. You are investing in subsidiary. Intention is again to support your activities. The remaining 53% is held by management of P Limited. Okay, this option to purchase 53% is there. This is currently held by management of P Limited. So currently held by management of P Limited. So basically, Entity P directly is having 47%. Its management is having 53%. The remaining 53% is held by the management of P Limited, who are key to running major projects that will market the medicine with the features completely new to the industry. So basically, this management P is critical. Critical means important. However, if P Limited exercises, this option is there, no? This if it is exercised. If exercised, if P Limited exercise the option to the management personnel likely to leave. These management people are there, no, who are very critical, likely to leave. Likely to leave. They have unique technological knowledge in relation to specific medicine, so it cannot be done by anybody else. Option strike price is 5 times the value of entity share price. Is the option substantive? So only question is this option to purchase 53%, is it substantive or not? That's what they're asking. Read once more, look at the chart once more, then see what you think would be the answer. Okay. Now again, when you answer an exam, you should not give a conclusive that this should be there. You should always say seems. So in this case, what do we tell? It seems it's not substantive. Why? Because if you exercise, the management is likely to leave, which means the purpose of acquiring also will not be served, and your entity management also cannot be done by other people. So why will you have so much of loss? And one reason. Another reason, option strike price is 5 times the value. Option strike price is 5 times the value. So whatever the value of the company, the price which is available for the company to convert is 5 times of it. Why will you pay 5 times to convert without any benefit? So we say that the management, the option to convert has no economic benefits. Option to convert has no economic benefits. You can quote these two answers. Reason number 1, the management will leave. The reason number 2, the strike price is higher. The price is costly. Price is higher. Costly. So seems it's not substantive. So right. Or the option seems not substantive. Seems not substantive. Okay, hope you got it. Let's go further. Investor A and other two investors each hold 1/3 of the voting rights of an investee. Okay, investor A and other two investors. Okay, let me just say investor 1 and investor 2 hold 1/3 of the voting right of an investee. There is an investee. They have 1/3 of the right. So investor A has 1/3, investor 1 also has 1/3, and investor 2 also has 1/3. The investee's business activity is closely related to investor A. Investee's relevant activities is closely related to investor A. In addition to its equity instruments, investor A also has debt instruments that are convertible into ordinary shares at any time for a fixed price that is out of the money but not deeply out of the money. The investor A not only has 1/3, he also has one more convertible debts, convertible debenture maybe, convertible debt at any time for a fixed price that is out of the money but not deeply out of the money. Any idea what is the meaning of this one? Little bit of SFM knowledge would help here. It is out of the money but not deeply out of the money. Remember the concept: in the money, out to the money, up to the money. Anyway, those are SFM terms, and I don't want to go for SFM terms. Without that also we can understand it. Suppose market price is in the market price of this investee in the stock market is, let's say, 100 rupees. And this person, investor, has got right to purchase, this right to convert the debt into shares, convertible debt, this convertible debt. They say fixed price. No, at what rate you want to convert is at a fixed price. The conversion price is, let's say, 95, let's say 105 rupees. Now, in market, if we purchase 100 rupees, if he converts the debt here 105 rupees, do you think it's likely to convert purely on the market price? Seems not. That's what is called as out of the money, because this conversion price is costly out of the money, not likely to exercise. If it was a general shareholder, but investor has got different meaning because he has 1/3 share already, and his business and the industry business are closely related, so he has other benefits also apart from just the share price. So even though it is costly, he may choose to convert because he has some vested interest, he has some personal interest, but not deeply out of the money. It's not like a market price is 10 rupees, conversion price 105. If it is deeply out of the money, so high, then definitely person will not convert. If he wants to go to market and buy it. So if the debt were converted, investor A would hold 60% of the voting right. So if converted, 1/3 will become 60%. So 33.33% is there currently. So that will be added by 27.377 or 67. That will become 60% of the voting rights of the investee. Investor A would benefit from realizing synergy because investor A business, investee business are closely related. Relevant activities. So he also has the benefit of synergies if the debt instruments were converted into ordinary shares. Does A Limited have power over investee? Read once more. Okay, so what do you think? Okay, do you think investor A has the power here? The only thing what you have to think is he likely to exercise the power? Is he likely to convert? The conversion price is not too much different from market price, very, very close. Even though this price is costly, still very, very close, and he has the benefit. So we say yes, investor A controls. So investor A controls the investee. Investor A controls the investee through the present voting power, present voting rights, through present voting rights and substantive potential rights. Present voting rights and substantive potential rights. Substantive potential rights. Okay, hopefully it's done. I'll go further. Okay, what is that? I'll go further. Okay. A decision maker, fund manager establishes market and manages publicly traded regulated fund according to narrowly defined parameters set out in the investment mandate as required by local laws and regulations. A decision maker, fund manager, NGR, establishes markets and manages publicly traded regulated fund. Let's say for our convenience, it's a mutual fund for our discussion purpose. So the fund manager who is responsible for managing this fund manages also markets also in a defined parameter. So what are the rules that he has to follow for managing? In a defined parameters, that is rules and regulations by local laws like SEBI. Let's say parameters set by let's say SEBI. Just to give you the context, you know, in mutual funds we have debt funds, equity funds, balance funds, like that. In equity funds also you have something like large cap funds. Means the mutual fund should invest only in large capitalization companies, large companies. Now, which are those large companies? That is already defined by a website called as AMFI. Now, how much of this mutual fund should invest in those large companies? SEBI has given the limits: 65%, 80%, like that. They also have something like diversified fund. So you should invest like the 25% in large cap, 25% in small cap, 25% in mid cap. Even in debt funds, you have something like low duration funds. You can invest in the papers. You can invest in the debt instruments which is having monthly duration of less than 1 year, less than 12 months. Restrictions will be given by SEBI. That's what is local laws and regulations. The fund was marketed to investors as an investment in diversified portfolio of equity, securities, or publicly traded entities. The example again came here now. So how it is marketed? The mutual fund is diversified mutual fund. Diversified means what? To invest in multiple capitalization companies. Should not focus on one. Within the defined parameters, the fund manager, within the parameters, the fund manager has the discretion about assets in which to invest. So you have to invest, let's say, 25% in large cap category. Within the 25% large cap category, nobody can tell you which company to buy. Among those top 100 companies as per Indian capitalization, top 100, large cap, Indian definition. And when to buy, when to sell, keep trading, nobody is going to ask you. That is available with the fund manager's discretion. Within the defined parameter, the fund manager has the discretion about the assets in which to invest. The fund manager has made a 10% of pro rata investment in the fund, which means he is 10% shareholder. He manages, he markets, he follows the rules. He is also the shareholder. He is the shareholder, he is the unit holder. He invested 10% investment in the fund and receives a market-based fee for its service equal to 1% of the net asset value of the fund. Because he manages, he needs to be compensated remuneration. So what he gets additionally is 1% of NAV, net asset value of the fund. That is his remuneration for managing the fund. The fees are commensurate with the service provided. So market rate, anybody manages would have got this. The fund manager does not have any obligation to fund losses beyond 10% of investment. Obviously, he is 10% shareholder, his loss 10% only. The fund is not required to establish and has not established. If somebody says you need not, we will not do it. An independent board of directors. So this fund has no board of directors and not required also. The investor do not hold any substantive right that would affect the decision making authority of the fund manager. Remaining 90% people are there. No, he holds 90%. Remaining he holds 10%. Remaining 90%. Remaining 90% who controls the diversified fund, they don't have any substantive option, so they will not be able to come to the power. Do not have any substantive rights that would affect the decision making authority of the fund manager, but can retain the interest within particular limits set by the fund. That is, a mutual fund investor can take back his money whenever he wants. You can't say, hey, you are a shareholder, owner, wait for the mutual fund to liquidate. No, the moment you are invested in mutual fund, the predefined right the mutual fund holder has is he can withdraw. Of course, amount can be restricted. Does the fund manager have the control over the fund? Please read once more. Take your time. Tell me what you think. Does the fund manager has the control?
అయిపోయినట్టుందమ్మా.
Okay, now fund manager, it seems he has 10% shareholder, but what is his main operation? Do you think he is like the owner of the company operating this company? Now this 10% shareholder, does it mean is it almost like owning the fund? No, right? He definitely markets, he manages, yeah, he controls. That is also true. He controls the fund operations. But our intention of control here is he the absolute authority. Can he do whatever he wants? He is bound by local laws and regulation. That is also fine. But more importantly, his main service is 1% of the net asset value of the fund. Meaning he is more like a manager in the sense he is like a agent. He is employed. Your establishes markets manages public debt fund. But who will appoint him? Can somebody change his power? Can he be removed? Somebody else be appointed? Can be. No information available here that he cannot be removed. He is starting. That's fine. He's managing marketing. That's fine. But remember his service fee. And he's having 10% for investment. He gets a dividend for that, like any other shareholder. That does not make him any special. And the 10% does not give him any special power. Okay. So here we say that the 10% ownership do not provide any power specifically. Just because you 10% does not mean it's going to have any impact in any other meeting, any other organization, any other activities like that. And 1% fees is in the nature of agent. Because that's what everybody does. It is in commensurate with service provided. So he agent in the sense he's like an employment, he's employed person, he's an agent. Again, don't apply the agent concept to income tax. Employment for versus employment with. That 194J, 192 don't involve income tax interpretations here. When you say agent, it's substance over form. Are you the real owner or are you just a mediator? Just because you have 10%, no special power, you receive 1% of the fees, does not mean you are doing anything special. That's what any fund manager would have received. He definitely controls the operations, but he does not own the fund. So according to us, control means we are talking about that. So he does not have the control. So fund manager has or don't have control. Fund manager don't control fund. Fund manager don't control fund. Okay, hope it is done. Many know, small illustrations are there in the institute problems, but I have covered what is essential ones. Examination, this is sufficient. So I don't think they'll ask these 20 questions in exam, but we are not taking chance. But don't go too much into the material also. If you have time, take your time, go through detailedly. That's for practical purpose. But whatever required for understanding the concept, I have covered it. Because we are not doing any PhD in this yet. If you want, you're always open, you can do more analysis. But these essential points, essential illustrations from the ICI material only, I've included here to understand about the concept of control. If you still have time, patience, energy, please go to study material if you have time. And after that, if something happens to you, I'm not responsible. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Entity X Limited is formed by Z Limited to invest in startup technology companies for capital appreciation. So Z Limited, okay, Z Limited holds 75%. Z Limited holds 75% in X Limited. In X Limited, 75%. And other 25%, remaining 25%, is held by 10 unrelated investors. 10 unrelated investors. Z Limited holds an option to acquire the investments by X Limited. So Z Limited has the option to acquire, okay, at their face value, which would be exercised if the technology developed by the investee would benefit the operations of Z Limited, whether X Limited meets the definition of an investment entity as per IND AS 110. Z Limited has the option to acquire investments held by X Limited. So X Limited has got some investments. And Z Limited has the option to acquire. Option to acquire at their fair value when if technology developed would benefit the operations. If technology developed is beneficial. Whether X Limited, the question is that whether X Limited is an investment entity or not. Read once more, see what you can think of. Okay, now, so what is an investment entity? You know the condition to be satisfied, 3 elements, 4 characteristics. One of the main elements is X Limited should have an investment. In this case, X Limited should have an investment for what purpose? If you want to classify as investment entity, what should be the purpose of investments? Remember, what should be the purpose of investments? See if you're able to recollect. What should be the purpose of investments? Capital appreciation and investment income or both. Capital appreciation or investment income or both. Which means your intention should not be to control the operations. Their business is nothing to do with your business. Your intention of investing in that company is not because their technology will help your company. Their formulas or their products are going to become inputs of your company. You don't have any business interest. You should not have any business interest. If you have, that becomes a regular subsidiary company. Investment company, investment entity. What is your job? Just investment. Managing where to invest. I don't do after that. I don't involve in the day-to-day operations. Now here, what is this investment? This investments made by X Limited in this given problem. Do you think it is in the nature of capital appreciation investment income? Is their objective? Definitely not. Why? Because they are talking about business technology developed by investee. That is the investments what you make. So the intention is not towards just the investment. You have other vested interest in the form of business development, in the business improvements, whatever may be the case. And also one more important characteristic in a venture capitalist fund, I told you, remember? Very important venture capitalist fund, how they plan the operations. They invest the money. Once they invest, they also look for one more important thing. Do you remember what I told you regarding the operations of venture capitalists, how they think, what is the mindset? I don't know whether you remember, I was discussing the basics. No, they want regular income. No, that's not the intention. I'm sorry. Venture capitalists are not looking for regular income. That is not the thing. Venture capitalists, when they invest in high risky, high growth companies. They are ready to take risks, but they want so many times, 3, 4 times, multiple bagger companies. In the sense, they want an exit plan. I hope you remember, I told you this. When a venture capitalist give money, he will ask the other person, please give me, how do I get my money back? One regular plan is company will get listed, at that time you will get back. Otherwise, I will guarantee I will buy your shares at this price. Something like it. Some exit routes, which are missing in this case. That is also not there. So we can say that. So there's a business connection. So investments by X Limited has seems to have objective of business interest. Seems to have the objective of business interest. In the exam, you should write about those 3 points. Then you write this analysis. So investment by X Limited seems to have the objective of business interest, and hence X Limited is not an investment entity. 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 Hence, what is the impact? It's not investment entity. Consolidation required. Consolidation exemption was there. That is not available under IND AS 110. Consolidation required. Three elements of investment entity to be included in as a case. You should write when you say like is the entity an investment entity. First, you should always say what is investment entity. You should always write. You don't write in detail, but you should write the three approximate elements. The purpose is should be investor should be more than one. Then the purpose is to be investment capitalization of both. The value should be a fair value basis. Should write those 3 points. Can't we say after technology is beneficial, Z Limited may control as a scientific person only? They have control. We are not objecting to it. The question is not about the control. No. Absolutely yes. Z Limited control X Limited. X Limited controls investments. But the question is not regarding the control. The question is, yes, they have control. Are they investment entity? If you are investment entity, though you have control, you come under exemption of not preparing consolidated statements. And venture capitalist will have so many investments. I don't have to do all consolidation because my purpose is not to manage their business. In this case, also have investment. But the purpose is not just for manage, it's not for investment, it's to manage the business, which means it's not investment entity, exemption don't apply, consolidation required. X Limited with this investment should consolidate. Yes, it has control, definitely. Hence, Z Limited will consolidate X Limited also. Yes, control is not the question, control is there. Even when the control is there, can you say, I will not prepare consolidated statements? You're taking the exemption route. You want to become exception. You want to become VIP and say, I don't want to do consolidation. That's what it is. Okay, hope you got that one. Control approach. Let's do this problem. T Limited is carrying on the business of developing lightweight and medium weight guns for Indian defense industry. T Limited acquired 48% shares of K Limited. T Limited acquired 48% of K Limited, a company engaged in advanced research weapons. T Limited acquired shares in K Limited substantiate their position in the industry. The remaining 52% shares held by the key management personnel of the company K Limited. So in the K Limited, 48% is held by T Limited, remaining 52% is held by a key management personnel. The key management consists of 11 people, not one person, 11 people, who are experts in the fields of advanced weapons and core of the company. So they are the important layers in the organization. T Limited has the option of purchasing remaining 52% at any time by paying 6 times the market price per share. So they have 48%, remaining is held by 11 people, remaining 52%, but these people can acquire the remaining 52% any time by paying 6 times the market price. So if they want, they can cross 50%. If they want, they can cross 50%. But on the purchase of the share, it is highly possible that the key management personnel will leave the company. So if you do it, then KMP will leave the company. State whether T Limited has control over K Limited. So for the first part of the solution, what do we see? With 48%, a control can be exercised. With 48%, control cannot be exercised. With 48%, control cannot be exercised. Cannot be exercised. Why it cannot be exercised? Because remaining people, who are 6 people, they can always say no, yes, those kind of things can be done. Therefore, with 48%, company cannot exercise control. But it has the option. It has the option. But what will happen if they exercise the option? If they exercise the option, then the key management personnel likely to leave the company. Then how the business will be done? So the option of conversion, the option of exercising the right to purchase is not expected to happen. It is not expected because if you exercise, if you purchase the shares, you will get more than 50%, but company may get closed down because they are likely to leave the company, at least in the near future. So T Limited don't have control. T Limited don't have control. But in exam, you should write 3 points. What are the 3 points? Power over investee, ability to generate or ability to have variable returns, and ability to exercise the power. Not just having the power is not sufficient. You should be able to exercise it. This one question always exists. In a family, who controls the family? Husband or wife? It's a $1 million question. Everybody knows the answer, but we can't say it loud. There's a saying like this: the head of a family is the husband, because head decides everything, what to be done, where to look at, everything oversee is done by head. But wife is the neck. So neck don't do anything, it just controls the head. Anyway, don't take it personally, it's only for example purpose. We got the points? Okay, let's go to the second part of the question. What will be your answer if T Limited had 51% share in K Limited? 51%, not now, not 40, 51%. And K Limited can start the research and development production of weapon only with the stringent approval process of Defense Ministry of Central Government. So with 51%, they seems to have the power, but they cannot exercise the power because the decision lies with the central government. Without central government, you can't take permission, you can't exercise means, even though you have the power, you cannot make use of it, which means here also we have to say the power don't exist. So, point B, power exists, but ability to control or ability to exercise power don't exist. Ability to exercise power don't exist. Therefore, here also we can say no control. But make sure in the examination you write the 3 points theory, then you can write in your own words your conclusion. Okay, hope you got the points. Shall we move further? Any doubts? Is it fine? Yes, good. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next problem. What a big problem. I think it was some RTP or NTP question, I think. Yeah, RTP May 2019 question. I really don't think they can ask this question in exam, but just for discussion purpose. It looks so big, don't get frightened. That's why examination question are also meant to be. But when you read, you understand how simple the problem is. Let's read together. Make sure you also read together because so much is there. Angel Limited has adopted IND AS with transition from 1st April 2017. Prior to IND AS adoption, it followed accounting standards notified under Companies Accounting Standards Rules 2006, herein referred as IGAP. It has made investments in equity shares of Pharma Limited. Angel Limited has made shares in Pharma Limited, a listed company engaged in the business of pharmaceuticals. The shareholding pattern of Pharma Limited as given below. Angel Limited invested, and Angel Limited is a 21% shareholder. Little Angel Limited, note 2 something. Wealth Master Mutual Fund, note 3. Individual public shareholder, note 4. Okay, 25%, I think. 45, 48, 52, 100%. None of the shareholders have agreed into any shareholders agreement, so nothing common between them. They are all separate, they are scattered. Little Angel Limited is a subsidiary of Angel Limited under IND AS, which is in Angel Limited holds 51% voting power. What is this happening? Let me quickly write that in the form of charts. Okay, so we are talking about Pharma Limited. You're talking Pharma Limited, and in Pharma Limited, Angel Limited is an investor. So Angel Limited is having 21%, and Little Angel Limited is having 24%. Little Angel Limited is having 24%, and Angel Limited holds 51% voting power of which one? Of Little Angel. So Angel Limited holds 51% in Little Angel Limited. Now, this anyway we are going to discuss later. This concept called as a chain holding will come, but nevertheless, now Angel Limited has got 51% Little Angel. So Little Angel is a subsidiary, Angel is a holding company, and 24% they control. So whatever Angel Limited should tell, same thing Little Angel Limited will have to follow it, which means 24% is as good as held by Angel Limited itself for the purpose of voting power discussion, not for the purpose of dividend payment, not for the purpose of consolidation. We do chain holding consolidation later, but for the purpose of assessing control. For assessing control, Angel Limited directly has 21%, then through its subsidiary, has 24%. So ultimately controls 45% voting power in Pharma Limited. Don't do 51% or 24%. That we discuss later in chain holding consolidation problem, in numericals, in dividend payment, in profit loss account distribution. All those things will come. But for the purpose of voting power, Angel Limited directly has 21% share, and through Little Angel, through subsidiary 24%. But whatever Angel Limited will tell, say vote, Little Angel will vote because they are subsidiary. So 21% directly control, 24% voting power through subsidiary. Ultimately, they control 45%. I hope it is clear till here. 45%. Okay. Wealth Master Mutual Fund is not a related party of either Little Angel or Pharma. They are outsiders. Individual public holders, public shareholders represent 17,455 individuals. The remaining, the 52% is there. That is spread among 17,000 plus people. None of the individual shareholders hold more than 1% of voting power. So none of them know each other, and none of them have more than 1%. So they are all scattered. It's practical application problem. All commercial decisions of Pharma Limited are taken by directors who are appointed by simple majority votes. So in the Pharma Limited, board of directors who are there are done by simple majority votes. In the general meeting, the following table shows the voting pattern in the past AGMs of Pharma Limited. Angel Limited in 13-14 attended, 14-15 attended, 15-16 attended. Little Angel Limited attended. Wealth Master Mutual Funds attended and voted in favor of all resolutions except for important district directors. Attended and voted also. What they voted, don't worry, they voted. That's all important. And attended and voted. So basically, 21% voted, they are participating. 24% participating, 3% participating, which means definitely 48% of the people are participating. Remaining individuals, 7% of the individual shareholders attended AGM. All the individual shareholders voted in favor for all resolution, except 50% of the individual shareholders voted against resolution to appoint retiring directors. Basically, they tell 7% of the people attended. 8% of the individual shareholders attended the AGM. All the individual shareholders voted in favor of all resolutions, except 50% of the individual shareholders voted against resolution. Same thing. 6% individuals, same thing. So basically, remaining 52% is there. No. What is the attendance record? 1 year 7%, other year 8%, other year 6%. On an average, even if you total it, not even average, this will have around only, let's say, 7 to 8%, maximum 10%, let's say. Now, at this point in time, do you think what is the Angel Limited's ultimate control? They are having 45%. Now, with 45%, can they control Pharma Limited? Because remaining 55%? Definitely yes, because 3% mutual funds will attend. Remaining 7-8%, remaining people are 10%. Yours is substance in form, majority. You are having the impacts with 45%. This problem, to an extent, also we had earlier, but this data point was not there. This is more practical in nature. Looks so big, that's all. Pharma Limited has obtained substantial long-term borrowing from a bank. Okay, Pharma Limited has taken a loan. Pharma Limited has taken loan. Taken loan from a bank, substantial loan. The loan is payable in 20 years from 1st April as per terms of the borrowing. The following actions by Pharma Limited will require prior approval of the bank. So bank has got some powers. Payment of dividends to shareholders in cash or in kind, buyback, issue of bonus shares, amalgamation of entity, obtaining additional loans from other entity. In these 3 points, you will take a prior approval from bank. So bank has got some power. Bank has got some restrictions, has put some restrictions on these matters. Recently, Board of Directors of Pharma Limited proposed a dividend per share. That's all they can do. However, when the CFO of the Pharma Limited approached the bank for obtaining their approval, the bank rejected the proposal, citing concern over short-term cash liquidity. It was supposed to be approved by bank. They said no. Pharma Limited, okay, having learned about this development, directors of Angel Limited, along with the Angel Limited, that is directly through subsidiary, that the top company, directors of Angel, along with the directors of Angel, approached the bank with request to reconsider. Please, let's do some adjustments to reconsider this condition. Directors of Angel and Angel Limited urged the bank to approve reduced dividend of at least 2 per share. Please, please. If not fine, please 2 please. However, bank categorically refused to approve any payment of dividend. They said, no, we cannot approve dividend. You cannot pay dividend. We are having the powers. Under IGAP, Angel Limited has classified the Pharma Limited as an associate. This important point. Under IGAP, previously, under IGAP, Angel Limited has classified the investment in Pharma Limited as associate. Under accounting standard, basically, IGAP, under accounting standards. Under IND AS, previously, before coming to IND AS. You are required to comment on the classification of Pharma Limited on the transition to IND AS. You should tell what should be the classification. That's all the answer. Read once more quickly, whichever point you want, not in detail, I've read in detail, whichever point, and see what you think will be the answer. Okay, now, so how do you answer the examination? 3 conditions to be there. If you have power, control, power, if you want to say control, power over investing, variable returns, exposure to variable returns, ability to use without any restrictions to affect the variable returns. Now, with this shareholder pattern, please tell me, do you think they can make decision? Do they have the dominant shareholding with 21%, 24%? What do you think? Definitely yes. Because with just 21, 24, 45%, but remaining people are not participating. So this is definitely a dominant shareholding. Which shareholding that provides power. Shareholding that generates, that provides power. That provides power. Now, second, variable returns is there? Yes, variable returns through the 45% shareholding. That means basically their shareholding will increase. Shareholding will decide how much dividend they receive, what is the income, what is the valuation, holding value, variable nature, nature of the shareholder. But most important is ability to use. That is the important point here. Ability to use the power. Do they have the ability to use the power? Because they have taken loan from bank, which has put some restrictions. Do you think those restrictions are coming in the way of this power? If you think that they are coming in the way of this power, then Angel Limited don't have control. What is your opinion on this? Bank has got some restrictions. They approved for the dividend. Bank said no. Then Angel Limited with these directors, Little Angel Limited with these directors requested reconsider please at least 2 rupees. Bank said no because your liquidity position is not good. What is your opinion on this? Is bank curtailing the powers? Is bank restriction is important? What do you think? I'm just waiting for the correct word from your side. Liquidity does not restrict. Liquidity is also important point. No, liquidity is not the point. Do you need to take the approval of bank? That is the point. So bank is coming in your way. Okay. The answer you need to do is here. What right the bank has is not substantive. The right what bank has, what is the term? They don't have substantive rights. The bank has what term? Not potential. It's not substantive. It is other way around. One more term. Okay, I think you don't remember. It is protective. Yes, bank has protective rights, not substantive right. And protective right should not be considered for the purpose of assessing control as per IND AS 110. So, does the entity has the ability to use power? Yes. Protective right should not be considered. Bank has a protective right because they have given loan to cover the loan for security purpose, for safety purpose. They have put those restrictions to protect their money. Protective rights in nature. They are not restrictive. So, it's not substantive rights. No doubt, they will come little bit conditions. I told you, some formalities will be there, some formalities, some process to be followed. But those conditions will not come for the purpose of assessing the control for IND AS 110. So, all the conditions are satisfied, which means it should not be classified as associate. It should be classified as a subsidiary. So, all the date of transition, Pharma Limited to be classified as subsidiary because it controls. So just to give you the practical aspect, this problem will be considered. Now in exam, they can give you the same problem but not so much paragraph. They might slightly reduce the content, give it to you. Some 4 or 5 pages will come in examination. Already by seeing the questions, what comes in exam, people heart rate changes in examination. If this comes, I think we need a medical emergency after every examination. As of now, I think there might be, but for different reasons. Okay, hopefully you got this. Shall we go further? Any questions you want to ask? Okay, hope you got this one there. Let's go further. Okay, so come to this problem. Entity X owns the following other entities. Entity X owns the following other entities. 100% interest in entity Y. 100% interest in entity Y. And entity Y owns 60% in entity Z. Entity Y owns 60% in entity Z. X in Y, Y in Z. X in Y 100%, Y in Z 60%. And other entity X owns 80% interest in entity M. And entity M owns 60% interest in entity N. So X in Y, Y in Z, X in M, M in N. Entity X is a listed company, prepares IND AS compliant consolidated statements. So entity X prepares CFS, consolidated cash flow statement. Entity Y and M do not have their security publicly traded. So this Y and M you have are not publicly traded, not listed, and they are not in the process of issuing securities in the public market. They will not likely to become also. Whether entity X, Y, and M are required to prepare consolidated cash flow statement. Now entity X is definitely required, no doubt about it, ultimate parent. But entity Y and entity M is intermediate parent. Intermediate parent. This entity M is also intermediate parent. Okay. Now there is an exemption available to the intermediate parents under IND AS 110. We are answering only on IND AS 110, not as per Companies Act. Companies Act don't provide any exemptions. Everybody should prepare. They provide different exemptions. Anyway, so we are only restricted to IND AS 110. Intermediate parent can be exempted. 4 conditions are there. It must be intermediate, the immediate parent, or ultimate parent preparing publicly available consolidated statements, and then they should not be in the process of any listed one, and they should not be required to file under any authorities. Those conditions are there. And first point, if you are a 100% wholly subsidiary, entity wise a 100% wholly subsidiary, you are exempted. But you are partially owned subsidiary exempted, provided others don't object. Because you see, in this entity M, entity X has 80%, but remaining 20% people are there. Outside people also have got interest. They should not object. Because that question do not arise in the first case. Because 100% subsidiary, others don't come. But in entity M, 80% held by entity X, but others don't object. If others object, entity M should also prepare consolidated financial statements, no exemption. If others don't object, there's remaining 20% NCI, non-controlling interest. You also pass minority interest. If they don't object, then they are exempted. So write down the chart format. In the examination, you can write about those points, 4 points, and make a conclusion. So write down this. Any doubts, you can let me know. Our focus today's session will be only these theory topics. I will not be doing the problems today. Only this theory discussion for today. Only 2 points. Control are there or not? Exemption applies or not? That's all our focus today. Okay, have you got it? I go further. Okay, come to this one. An investee no limited is floated to invest in a portfolio of equity-oriented mutual funds. Okay, investee no limited is floated to invest in a portfolio of equity-oriented mutual funds. So no limited is the investee. Invest in a portfolio of equity-oriented mutual funds. So they invest in equity-oriented mutual funds. Equity-oriented. Invest. Mutual funds. Funds are mutual funds funded by fixed rate debenture and equity instruments. So where do they get the money from? 2 things. One, fixed rate debentures and equity instruments. The equity instruments will receive any residual returns of the investee. That's what the meaning of equity instrument. Remaining will go to them. Transaction was marked to potential debt investor as an investment in portfolio of asset-backed securities with exposure to credit risk associated with possible default of the issuers of the asset-backed security in the portfolio, and to the interest rate risk associated with the management of the portfolio, which basically means this is announced as asset backed portfolio. Asset backed, right? Asset backed security. Asset backed security. What do you mean by asset backed security? Please make sure you people are investing in my company and I'm investing in equity oriented mutual funds. That's my objective. If there is a loss, I'm not able to collect money. That is the basis of asset for your loan you're giving it to me. For your security, that is my asset. As pledged, not specifically pledged, correction. That's what you're getting. That's the way you announce. See, when you go for raising money through loan, bonds, debentures, you need to get credit rating. For that purpose, you need to get details. What is the purpose of your investment? What is your objective? Where do you invest? What's your mechanism? This is what is telling. Portfolio asset backed security. The loan I'm taking from you, debenture holders, be aware for you. The security for you is the asset I'm investing, which is investment in mutual funds. And there's a possible default. If I'm not able to get money, if my mutual fund goes for loss, you will be having a risk of default. Be aware of it. It's a regular process. On the formation, equity instrument represents 15% of the value of the assets purchased by no limited. So on the formation, equity instrument represents 15% of the value of the asset purchased by no limited. Okay. So no limited has equal reference of 15%. 15% investment in equity instrument, equity shares. Purchased by no limited. A decision maker, asset manager of no limited manages the portfolio by making investment decision strictly as per investees prospectus. So here, no limited, this investment is managed by asset manager. As per prospectus, for service rendered, the manager received a fixed fee of 0.5% of AUM, asset under management. So he manages his fees is 0.5% of whatever assets under management, 0.5% of assets under management. And performance related fee, that is 2% of profits. If profit exceeds 10% over and above the previous financial year, it's incentive. If you do well, you get extra. So 0.1% of AUM and incentive 2% of extra, whatever surplus, 2% of surplus, 2% of surplus. The asset manager holds 40% of the equity in the investee. This asset manager has 40%. The equity instruments are owned in no limited. 40% are managed by this asset manager. Is there? No. He holds, he controls. He has 40% in the no limited. The remaining 60% of the equity and all the debentures are held by large number of widely unrelated third-party investors. Asset manager can be removed without a cause by simple majority decision of the investors, whether the fund manager controls the investee, no limited. Okay, now the investor, the fund asset manager, what we have, does he have the control or not? Three conditions. Does he have the power? 40%. Do you think 40% is sufficient to have the power? Because the remaining people are large. Asset manager can be removed by majority, but you require majority. No, this asset manager is 40%. Remaining 60% people are widespread. They are not connected. They don't have shareholders agreement. So it's very unlikely. Again, 40% seems to be the dominant. 40% share, 40% shareholding seems to be dominant shareholding to provide power. Another condition to be satisfied, variable returns. Yes, variable returns, 40% shareholding. Being a shareholder, variable return is there. Being a shareholder, variable return exists. The ability to use power again exists because removal by others unlikely. Removal by other shareholders unlikely. And these things has no impact. Fees of 5% of AUM and incentive of 2% of surplus. That's what any fund manager will receive. That is a remuneration of a fund manager. That is the ratio of an agent. That will not have impact. That will maybe give you more indication, but that will not have any impact. The main impact is having 40% shareholding. So asset manager has asset manager controls no limited. Now, in one of the earlier problems, if you remember the same situation was there. Fund manager problem, but there we concluded asset manager, fund manager don't have control over the company, but here they are having control. Are you able to understand what is the main reason in the other problem? We concluded fund manager don't have the power, and here why we are concluding he has the power. There we had only 10%, absolutely right. By looking at 10%, you can say 10% is not dominant. So how much is dominant? I cannot give a number. We are not rule-based standards. We are in principle-based standards. 40% seems, that's why I use the word seems. We cannot say will be. Seems dominant. Because with 40%, you can reasonably control the operations of the company. With 10%, normally you can't. Exceptional cases you can, but normally you can't. So asset manager controls no limited. Same thing only here and there. We are discussing many like this only. Some more ones are there in material. I really don't recommend. If you have time, patience, energy, and strong willpower and good heart, you can go for it. Okay, hope you got it. Shall we go further? Okay, I'll go further. Okay, so come to this problem, this question. A fund has been set up by manager. Initially, the manager is the only shareholder. As at the first period end, fund has not been successful in receiving funds from other prospective shareholder. Okay, a fund has been set up by manager. And manager is the only shareholder. but it is actively soliciting new investors. Actively soliciting new investor means I am the owner of this company. I have started this fund, but I'm looking for new investors. Please invest, please invest, please invest. Soliciting, looking for new investors. The fund invests in global equity. The fund invests in global equity and equity related derivatives, and it provides one shareholder with investment management service as a mandated in the prospectus. So as of now, only one shareholder is there. So if some other people comes and invest, their money is also managed. So the fund is making investment management service. Its prospectus states that to buy and sell investments regularly, it expects holding period of more than 1 year to be rare. So your intention is not to hold and control the operations. Your intention is to buy when a good price comes, sell it off. So more than 1 year, very rare. The fund generates returns from capital appreciation and investment income in the form of dividend. So the fund is getting investment income and dividend income in the form of dividend income. The fund fair values all investments, and these valuations are the basis for subscriptions and redemption into out of the fund. Subscription redemptions can occur daily. Is it an investment entity? For investment entity, three conditions are there and characteristics are there. We are valuing a fair value basis. We are providing investment management service, and holding is for investment or for capital appreciation. So elements.
Lecture 2 Consolidation will be written in notes. Please check the Google link provided in the Google description, video description, and get the notes and read the notes properly, and PDF also will be provided for the consolidation chapter. Thank you for watching lecture. Follow for next lecture 3.